Woodbridge, New Jersey. A 911 call center in Middlesex County said dozens of people had called in to report strange crying sounds coming from St. Mary Cemetery, Alpine Cemetery, and other graveyards as far south as Ernst Memorial Cemetery in Parlin. Multiple callers reported hearing animal or infant cries in the cemeteries on the New York-New Jersey border, one dispatcher said. Officers initially were sent out to check out the surroundings, but did not find the source of the reported sounds at the time. The dispatcher said she alone had received over 30 calls on the subject between August 23rd and the 25th, prompting a second and more thorough investigation of Woodbridge Memorial Gardens. The last call I got, the guy said he'd heard it 6 times throughout the night, and he swore someone was buried alive in there, she said. I knew something was going on, but Jesus, not what they found. Yesterday afternoon, investigating officers pinpointed muffled cries emanating from multiple undisclosed graves. Despite the burial dates on the gravestones being over 5 years old, concern of a trapped person or mislabeled marker led to the exhumation of those graves. A paramedic who was on site recounted the events he had witnessed to us in some detail. I never heard anything like it. Sounded like a crying baby, but much more coarse and gravely. It sent chills down my spine. They brought in the excavator and went to work while we stood behind the yellow tape. Took them a few hours, but we didn't find any answers in that grave. Only questions. Workers secured the coffin and pulled it out using a crane, and the first thing all of us saw was that damned hole at the feet end of the box. It was splintered outward like something had burst out of there. All kinds of dark fluid spilled out from whatever was left of the body, but the forensic investigator told us the real horror he found as he sucked down a cigarette with shaky fingers. He said he found a fresh chewed umbilical cord and a recent afterbirth. He claimed the buried woman's skin was decomposed to the point it was leathered and stripped, but he was absolutely certain she had recently given birth, impossible as that is. It makes no damn sense. A decomposed woman, 7 years rotting in the dirt, giving birth? Worst of all, they found those piles of fresh soil just at the wood's edge. Further investigation confirmed the mounds of loose soil were the result of tunneling from the grave to the surface. Initial theories of animals burrowing into the coffins to feed have been dispelled after the findings of small fingernails and what they believe is amniotic fluids along the tunnel paths, which lead outward to the surrounding wood's edge. Testings of the recovered samples is currently underway. As of 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 missing persons reports have been filed in the Edison area, in possible connection to the events after witnesses report similar sounds of animal or infant crying. There is no confirmation that these disappearances are related, but citizens are advised to exercise caution. One Woodbridge eyewitness contacted us detailing an encounter in relation to the bizarre events. The retired woman, who wished to remain anonymous, gave an emotional account of what she experienced late last night. I saw it. Oh God, I saw it. It was out behind the bins when I was taking the trash out. I thought it was a baby some young mother had abandoned back there. People these days have no values over what they bring into the world, but that thing shouldn't ever come into this world. Its pale skin was wrinkled and thin. You could see the cheekbones poking out, and the insect lids all purple and glossy. Looked like a man on his deathbed, but it wasn't no bigger than an infant. Those eyes were inky voids too, emotionless like insects, black through and through. They had no soul in them. I'll see those eyes in my nightmares until the day I go. When I do, you best believe I'm getting cremated. I was taking the trash out and came around the back to where the bins were, and I saw it crawling, tucked in the shadows and only catching a halo sliver from the light behind it. I could make out a fleshy crater where a nose should be, skull-like over that horrible toothless grin. Those black spheres of eyes flickered and must have noticed me then, 'cause that thing started crawling towards me real fast. It was slapping those little bony palms on the pavement with the fury racing towards me. I screamed and fell back into my house when I saw it crawl out from the shadows. Oh God! I screamed and closed my eyes as I slammed and bolted the door, but the sight of it's been burned into my head. Those small fingers were crawling at the door to get in. That loose jaw and that bulging black tongue. Dear God, I wish more than anything I could forget that face. As of 4:55 a.m. Eastern Time, a fifth person has been reported missing in South Amboy, New Jersey in possible connection. Residents are advised to take precaution when entering or leaving their homes. Residents are also advised to contact the authorities upon seeing or hearing anything that could be linked, and to avoid unlit areas.